Wow.
Yeah, you
I
go
did
see
not
him.
know that.
You should totally go see him.
I am definitely going to go see him.
Yeah, for sure. Check him out on Facebook. He posts when he's playing, and he posted a thing this year of Halloween. Him and his mom were in the garage, and they were singing "The Candyman Can."
Oh, yeah?
That was killer. I loved it. Yeah, it was so good. Are you okay? Your headphones
Oh, yeah.
are
I
good?
just had an itchy ear.
Okay, just making sure we're recording.
No, we're solid.
Oh, here.
Yeah. Slate.
There we go. Yeah, slate. That is exactly what that is. Otherwise, there would be like mouths moving and audio going because I have no idea how to do it otherwise. Yeah, so in town for Yuck Yucks weekend.
Yeah, doing the Valentine's weekend.
That's special. You and your sweetie.
Yeah, me and the lady.
The lady.
Yeah. I believe she booked it for me.
Is that right?
I had no idea.
It's amazing.
And then, I just get called from the club manager, and then
Jen
Jen goes, "You're coming here this day." My Via Rail ticket shows up in my email. I'm like, okay.
Is that how that works?
She pretty much just handles me like that.
That's good. I consider you guys the Donnie and Marie of comedy.
Right on.
Yeah.
I hope to have just as close to as much success as Donnie. And
Yeah,
Marie.
They're brother and sister, right?
Yeah. They're hot though.
They're hot for sure. Yeah. I always like it. Wow, Rob and Jen, they're two good-looking people. They're gonna have good-looking kids. I'm like, no, they're not. They're like brother and sister.
Yeah, it's gonna look like a potato sack. It's gonna be a real competitive kid too. Loud and competitive.
Oh, because you're competitive.
Both of us, yeah. It's just
it's
too much.
Like,
I mean, she's a dude.
She's
I call Jen Gord sometimes because she just gets so fired up. Like I watch a game with her, and she's like watching the game with my buddies.
In reference to who's Gord?
Just a gourd, just a guy, just a Canadian guy that chops wood. That's what I think. Gourd.
Yeah, that is a good one. Like
She went and bought a TV, and she goes, "Oh, it's massive." And I was like, "Easy, Gord. Take it easy."
What size is it?
It's 56 inch.
Big.
I think
That's
she picked
huge.
it out. Yeah,
that's a big one.
Yeah, it's massive.
It's enormous.
Yeah. It's pretty good. She's excited for it. New TV. I think I'm more excited for it because I'll get to use it more.
But she doesn't even have a home.
Not yet.
As a Canadian comedian, you don't even have homes. What are you going to do with a massive TV?
I told her that. I said, wait till you get a home and then get the TV. She's like, it's a good deal.
Build a house around this TV.
You'll set up the supports, eh?
Just a couch and a TV out in the field.
Right.
Waiting for Minto to build you a home.
Good call on the Minto. Mm-hmm. I did a show out here for Minto.
Did you?
Yeah. I did
people?
like 800 person ballroom at that Ottawa Events Center downtown, that big glass, lovely building.
Did you make any jokes about homes being built?
No.
Not being built on time and sinking and...
I should have.
Yeah.
It was lame, but they paid me so well. I was just like, hi, everybody. I had to be there for about 3 hours, and all I did was MC, just talking a microphone competently well.
Huh.
And they had... people pay you for that. It's a terrific job.
Yet to
just
be
getting
seen.
into... You just have to go to a speakers bureau.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go through comedy bookers. You just dress
Oh,
up.
so you're with a speakers bureau?
I'm with a few different speakers groups, and so that's how you get that stuff. And it's like 10 minutes of work over 3 hours, really. Wow. You're just up and down. Now, please welcome to the stage. And you go and sit back down.
Yeah. I'm also a motivational speaker.
There you go.
That's
right
how
on.
I started in this crazy game of comedy, speaking.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, tons. I have 8 years, over 800 presentations.
That's amazing.
True story.
And so, how do you motivate people? What do you speak?
I tell them my story. Tell them my story. Do you not know my story?
I know parts of your story.
Okay, here's the quick version. And because 1985. Oh,
yeah.
you're a sports fan, right?
Yeah,
so
I am.
1985. My big brother Bill and I sit down to watch the Super Bowl. Dan Marino's playing.
Right.
Second season in the NFL, making and breaking all kinds of records. My big brother says, "Mark, if Dan Marino can make it to the NFL, surely someday you could play in the NFL." I'd only played 1 year of organized football up until that point. right. So I'm
dreaming
like,
big.
Yeah, let's do it. Of course, we can do that. We're out in the local sports field in Orleans.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't Orleans. It was Blackburn Hamlet, even more strange than Orleans.
Okay.
Running, plays and push-ups and all that stuff and working hard. And next season starts, and the hard work was paying off. And the end of that season, actually after the last football game of the season on October 30th, 1985, I go in after the game. We just lost, and my uncle's standing there, and he says, "Mark, I'm sorry to tell you this, but your big brother Bill died today."
Oh, shit.
He was born with a hole in his heart.
Wow.
And from a really young age, the doctors always told him that, you know, he could die any day. Any day could be his last, and that's how he always lived. And on that day, I made a promise to him that the goal, the dream we had set of me making it to the NFL, I would never give up.
Yeah.
And for the next 10 years, I just, you know, just never stopped trying. I just never gave up. Things weren't going my way. No one's ever done it before. Injuries, all sorts of things.
Right, right.
10 years later to the day, October 30th, 1995, I signed a contract with the Miami Dolphins, and Dan Marino's the guy who welcomed me to the team.
That's incredible.
Crazy story.
That's incredible.
It's unbelievable. So that's the story, obviously the condensed version that I go around and I tell people. And it's about resiliency. It's about believing in yourself. It's about setting goals and having confidence and just never giving up and moving yourself in that positive direction every single day.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I like that. I like those kinds of talks. Those are the only, I think that's the kind of thing that everybody needs to hear daily, though. You know, in some fashion or another, maybe, you know, and how quick it is. I can't stress enough. There's so much depression and sadness and anger going on that people need tangible, positive goals to work towards, and so that they can feel their own self-worth. I love this stuff. I love it.
100% agree. I think, and I mean, there's, like you said, the mental illness, and I don't know what it's like, you know, going on in someone's head, because I don't experience that as others do. But if you have a reason to get out of bed every single day and something you're working on, I think that can definitely help.
Yes.
Right? It can definitely move you in a positive direction. And I think a lot of times people are feeling bad because they just don't find the passion that they want to chase in life. They don't have that thing. They don't have that comedy goal that they're after every single day. You know, their email doesn't have a Via Rail ticket.
Yeah, right.
You're going to Ottawa.
Some people don't have a Jen.
They don't have a gourd. We're all looking for a gourd in life, right? Or a giant TV to build a house around. All right, so you're from, let's start at the beginning.
I'm an Army brat, so I was, and I say that kind of like loosely. I was born in Chilliwack, BC, on a base. Like, my parents just met when they were 18, 19, I think is how old they were, and then they, you know, they had me, and then they just like, they're like, oh, so I guess we got to get married, because they're stupid kids. But they didn't like each other.
So they were young?
They were young, okay. Just children in the military.
Yeah, and they didn't like each other?
They didn't like each other. You know, they just had sex when they were drunk, I think. That's how it happened. So I was just conceived that way. And then my mom, you know, and so, like, I don't want to make her sound awful, but she just said she couldn't handle this, and she just kind of put me up for adoption. Didn't tell my dad that she had me or whatever. So she just left me.
This is really the real story?
Yeah, it's real. So she just left me there, and the military's like, hey, you know, they call my dad, and they're like, hey, you got a son, you know, you got to come pick him up. And then
okay. I know. Slow down here. What? It's like your parents have sex one night.
Yeah. She gets pregnant.
She gets pregnant.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell your dad.
Doesn't tell me dad.
She puts you up for adoption.
Yeah.
And then, but the military feels they need to.
Well, they got to tell the dad. Dad's got to sign off on the adoption, right? You can't just fire a kid in the bin, you know.
Were they both in the military?
Yeah. My dad, I think at the time, was driving instructor, doing some machining or something like that, and she was in the, what do you call it? The
infantry.
Yeah, but she's also doing like you know, front of house stuff. They have like a run. I can't remember what the name of their. Anyway, she's like running a store or running the bar or whatever, right? You know,
like Klinger.
Yeah, like exactly like Klinger. So my dad gets his call, you know, and then like that's how that started. And then my dad had to get out of the military. So like, I got to raise a kid. I can't just pawn my kid off on my mom and my sisters and stuff like that. So
he stepped up, said, I'm taking this kid.
He pieced out and kept me. And then so he's a big hero for me, you know. And then we moved to Edmonton. And I got another mom right away because my dad's quick. He's quick. Moved on to mom number 2 ASAP. And we wrung her dry. I tell you what, the hockey practices at 6 a.m. and the being poor, we wrung out mom number 2 quick. Because 13 years old, she pieced out, and my dad had to go get another one. This is a year later. Boom! I got mom 3.
Wow!
I'm cooking by 13. I had 3 moms.
Brothers and sisters at this point? Or?
I got a younger sister Nicole and a younger brother Michael.
And then they're with mom number 1, 2, or 3?
2.
Okay.
2. And they're great. That's my family. That's my I call them, you know, I still call that mom. And I talk to my brother and says I go home for Christmas there. I do all that stuff still. And mom 3, she's Diane. She's great. She's just, she's the rock. She's the one that doesn't take any guff from my dad. And that's how that, and I say it was between Edmonton and Vancouver my whole life. And then comedy started. I was 18. I stopped playing hockey finally.
Yeah, hold on a second here. So Chilliwack, we had training camp at Chilliwack. It's beautiful there.
Yeah.
For sure. And there was a crazy story there. Was that where the airplane crashed one time and killed the football players?
Yeah,
really close to there?
There was an airplane crash there. Yeah, I do recall that.
Yeah, 2 football players.
Wow, I didn't know about the football players.
I mean, they told us that when we had training camp.
Of course.
Yeah, watch out. So how old were you when you left Chilliwack in the Army?
Oh, I was a kid, just 1 year old.
Okay, so
nothing.
Not remember anything. Then
No.
you're moving to Edmonton, and that's where you went to school?
Yeah, next 10 years in Edmonton, and then it became a back and forth between there and Vancouver.
Okay.
I'd finding work here, finding work there, finding work here,
So you're moving around a lot.
Yeah, constantly, whole life moving around.
And were the brother and sister moving around with you too?
Yeah, and then the parents, all that stress, they split.
Yeah.
And my younger brother and sister go with mom, and then I stay the course with the old man. Mm-hmm. Finds mom number 3, and then we're just off and running again.
Right. Well, so was it high school you started the comedy, speaking?
Yeah. In high school, was 9th grade rather. Mm-hmm. I did my first stand-up comedy show. I did it in a gym for a talent show. Mm-hmm. Dressed like a hobo and came into the gym to "Don't Get Mad, Get Even" by Aerosmith. It sounded all dirty and raunchy, and then and made jokes about the movie Ghost.
Oh yeah,
because
Patrick
it was
Swayze
hot at the time.
That is hot. Still hot.
Yeah.
Right.
I made jokes about my teacher, Mr. Bisnar.
How old are you?
40.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
What year is that? That's
sometime.
Yeah. Well, you don't know when you were born?
78, but I don't know when Ghost came out.
Oh, Ghost. I think that's probably.
There you go.
Yeah. 80s.
There you go. So 92.
92.
91, 92,
Patrick
something
Swayze.
like that. Yeah.
Patrick Swayze's hot.
Yeah. He could dance, move his hips. All my mom said that. Oh, the way he moves his hips.
I thought he'd be bigger. Remember Roadhouse?
Yeah.
He's perfect.
Oh, love her. I just watched Roadhouse the other day.
Yeah.
Some bar had it on. I was like, this is perfect. Turn it up.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so grade 9, you're dressed as a hobo.
Yeah, did my first stand-up bit. Trying to, and I'm competitive. I wanted to win, but there's this student, Tamara Takahashi, who played the piano beautifully.
Yeah.
She just crushed it.
Of course.
Like I watched, I did my show, and then I watch her wheel out her piano, and then she just lays down fire, and I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. You know what I mean? Like I can't. I had to write what I did. She's copying someone else's
you're
stuff.
You're right, yes.
This was all me.
Yeah.
She's got a book, and someone else wrote it. Her parents bought that piano. You know what I mean?
And the lessons.
Yeah. I was unimpressed, but I was still impressed. I mean, it's still a great talent. But
it's great talent.
I had the bug early, man. I wanted to do stand-up since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Kinnison was around then. Robin Williams was hot. Jim Carrey was just exploding. And comedy was where it was at. Remember, like 80s and early 90s, it was always A&E's Evening at the Improv, Caroline's Comedy Hour, all that stuff was on. And I was just like, well, I can do this. And then Canada started showing comics. The show Comics on CBC, and they wheeled out every hack and joke monkey in the country and put them on stage for a half an hour on television. And I was like, I can definitely do this.
Yeah. Any names ring a bell?
I'm sure there are. I don't want to lay them. Yeah, I don't want to trash these guys. I mean, some are still working.
You were looking at a picture of Chris Quigley over there.
Maybe. Oh yeah. I don't know that Chris ever did one, to be honest with you. Maybe he did. I didn't see it. No, there's a few that stuck out. And there's a local kid that did one that really made me want to do it here. So,
from here?
Yeah.
Don Kelly?
No, like Don. Alistair McAllister did one.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, I can.
He's been around that long, huh?
He's been around forever.
Wow, he's one of those guys who just looks like he's 25.
He doesn't age. Yeah, he doesn't age. And his voice stays the same. Everything stays. Because, when guys get older, your voices usually crack or deepen or something. It's just it's
stop speaking altogether.
He's just tea and honey all day. Yeah, but he's also a lovely human. It's just I thought when watching him, I was like, I can do this.
100%.
I felt so confident right there. I can do this stuff. And then, I quit playing hockey in the week after. I was like 18 years old, playing hockey in Bonnyville, Alberta. dreams weren't panning out.
So but that was also a goal, right?
That was huge,
hockey,
yeah.
Spent a lot of time.
Day after day, constantly hockey. Yeah. And I wanted that worse than anything. It's just what 200 players play professionally. What are you going to do in the world? So I don't know. How do you? My dad was really early. He's like, you might not crack this. You know what I mean? You probably won't, you know. And I played with a ton of talented guys and guys that made the NHL and probably weren't even that talented. They just fit.
And you never gave up?
Never gave up.
Yeah.
Also had resource, and we didn't have that. But and you have to stick with it. You have to stick with it.
Yep.
You know, no matter what. And I kick myself sometimes because it was fun. Some of my friends went and played in Europe and just for shits and giggles.
Yep.
And then they, and then whatever, they went on to their lives. And some of them actually went on to the show. Old Jason Chimera played for the Washington Capitals and the New York Islanders for 15 years. And I was like, wow, you were a normal hockey player.
Right? Isn't
you know
that
what
always
I mean?
how it is, though, man? You know, that's just the person who never stops trying.
Yeah.
You know?
And he was terrific and positive to keeping with all that. Like, he was just always a good, upbeat guy trying to see, well, I can get through it. I can do it.
Yeah, well, that's what Chris Phillips said in this podcast, right? He doesn't remember ever being the best on his team. He just never stopped trying, right? And he had the motivation, right? His parents were sick. He just wanted to keep going to the rink. And that's the key, man. Just keep going.
Yeah, heart and desire.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about, man.
Man, I stopped playing in Bonnyville, kicked myself nonstop, and then I just went straight to comedy. And I was like, I know I can do this.
How old?
I said just about 18. So just wrapping up 17, coming in, and I came in hot, was ready to go. Inside of a year, I was working. You know? I was making $50 a show inside of a year. I was feeling special.
That is special. $50 when you're
that was awful.
18, and you're awful.
Awful.
How come?
It's just bad.
But you just never stopped trying.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I would, there's 6 guys. There's 5 guys, one woman doing stand up when I first started in Edmonton. And you had to call in Wednesdays and hook up your spots and whatnot. And that was the only spot in the week you could get as an open micer, was that Wednesday night. And I was like, well, I can't get any better doing this.
Yeah.
So I started driving around Edmonton and signing up at karaoke nights and just doing 5 minutes instead of a song. I'd sign up for a song, go up there, and then do 5 minutes.
That's a good idea.
And I took it all over Edmonton. So I was doing 2-3 shows a night. And now Edmonton's full of comics and open mics and stuff. And I'm like, well, you guys are lucky. I don't want to hear anything about bad nights.
That's the Rob Pugh started that, though, I imagine.
It was a few of us. I think it was all those 6 at least. We all played a part, and just we're like, we can't do this. We have to get around. And so that group is still like, I still talk to most of them.
Is there a Yuck Yucks in Edmonton?
There is, yeah. I think there's 4 comedy clubs in Edmonton.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that nuts? There's one above a bowling alley. That's a fun room. The Comedy Factory.
Can you hear the pins and the balls rolling down the aisle?
Yeah, you sure can. And arcade machines. You can hear everything. Yeah, it's not great. The Yuck Yucks there is in the casino. It's not bad. And then they got a laugh shop out in Sherwood Park there, and then the club in West Edmonton Mall. So 4 rooms. Edmonton's got a wealth of comedy clubs.
Did you have a job? Did you do anything else?
When I was 17 there, I worked at Earl's for the first 3 months, I think.
The restaurant.
Yeah, I was still with my parents then, and I didn't know what I was going to do for a living and stuff. My dad's like, get a job, you know. He'd been saying that for a year, so I was like, get a job. So I get a job at Earl's, and then that was it. 3 months in, I was like, I'm done. I was making enough. You know, rent in Edmonton was $400 a month, and I started making enough in comedy just because I could get around and go do stuff.
So you've really never had a job?
Never really had a job. From 13 to then, every summer I worked at my dad's battery shop, you know, fixing bus batteries or loading pallets. I did intensive work all summer. I didn't have summer break. Like, kids talk about summer break. I never got it. It sucked. It sucked. Kept me off the corner. Dad was like, oh, I just want to know where you are. I was like, well, this is...
Yeah, well, it gives you something to not want to do, right? Like, I don't want to ever do that again.
That's exactly it.
Yeah. When I went to the CFL Combine, it was in Saskatoon, and they took us around to these like factories and stuff just to meet people. And one of the veterans turns to me and goes, "This is why you work super hard playing football. It's because you don't want to ever be in this pit here, you know."
Right.
Like, and that was an eye opener. Yeah, these are the way most people live, right? They get up at 6 a.m. and they work hard all day long,
Yeah.
and they go home and they drink a beer and go to bed, right? That's it. Do you want to play football and get paid that amount of money, or
Yeah.
do it? So that's
That's a good point.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm really trying to work hard not to ever.
That's
have a
Well,
job.
you've made a life of it so far. I mean,
I'm
it's
20.
just-
Yeah, I'm 22 years in. We're
Yeah.
gonna keep going.
That's
But see,
amazing.
that's where you come with this business, because there's no pension, there's no safety, fallback, nothing. You got to
Right.
make that money, hold on to it. Mm-hmm.
Have you done that?
And then plan. See, now I got a Jen, right? So I got a Jen Gord. So she's really straightened me out. And Turkey, I mean, like she's level headed, but she's helped me just get my feet under me that way. She's not helping me financially. She's just getting my head straight. So I'm like, I can start focusing on
you
this stuff.
financially, yeah.
She's not. She was, I don't want that. No one wants people to wipe their butt for them. But she's very earnest. She's like, well, you should probably do this. Don't be a dummy and do this. Get rid of this problem you got here. And like I don't like facing adult problems at all.
Yeah, I hear you.
Money's awful.
So just for people listening, it's Jen LaBelle. She's
Yeah.
a comedian,
Terrific,
teacher.
yeah.
Terrific comedian. And I have no idea how good a teacher, but I'm sure she's all right, whatever.
Yeah, I'm sure she's all right.
Yeah.
She's great at basketball. I know that.
Is she good at basketball?
Yeah, she's really good.
Are you good at basketball?
Not that good. I mean, she's good.
Really?
Good. Yeah. Like she'd take me to town. It's not even a question. I have no right knee lateral, and even if I had all lateral ability and I was still in good shape, she'd still dust me off.
Really?
She's
Well,
good.
you're tall, big fella.
She's just good. She played uni ball or whatever.
Really?
I watched her D up this girl in one of her women's league games, and she stole the ball and then pushed the ball for a fast break and then caught it and spot up three, shot it. And I'd never been so turned on in my life. And I didn't
turn on right now.
I was like, like kids. I was like, defenseman.
I'm still thinking of the Takahashi girl playing piano.
That was the first weird crush I ever had. I know.
Yeah.
Well, sports and music with women, that gets me going. Anyway, I like that. Jen's a great, she's been nothing but a positive experience in my life that way. So,
So she's helping you save money, or
just get my
make
head
plans,
together.
to
Yeah,
get your head
just
around
organize my life and get that.
Yeah,
going.
yeah. I think while you're at the 40, that's a good time to start doing something like that. I would think.
Probably should have locked this down about 20 years ago. but
No, look at the markets took a dive. You would have lost all your money
Right.
sometime in the past. Yeah, that's
a sweet rationalization. I
Thank you.
like that. Yeah, 2008 would have been bad for me anyway.
You'd be even right now.
Yeah, it's not bad. Well, all my friends went to the patch. Like, I grew up in Alberta, so they were out in the oil patch.
A lot of money there.
So much money.
Yeah,
so all my buddies are
tough,
loaded.
tough thing to say no to, I would imagine, for you, seeing all your buddies driving like Corvettes and Range Rovers and stuff.
Trucks having houses when they're 24 and 25. I was like, nah. And
they get a lot of time off too, right? They work like 4 weeks on and 4 off or something crazy like that. Travel the world. That's not a bad gig, man. If you
just hard drinking, hard drugging, hard money spending, and just not getting smarter. And I like having a good conversation, and you don't get it with those guys. You get digging holes and talking about poontang. So you're like, wow, okay.
I was hoping that's what you were going to talk about here.
It's the name of the next album. Digging holes in poontang.
Okay, so we start off. You're 18. You're traveling around doing karaoke's, and getting $50 a night, and you're still at home.
Yeah.
And then what's the next step from there? Because you've made this a goal at this point, right? This is something I want to do. This is something like what's the early goal for an 18-year-old, who wants to be a comic? Is it I want to do this and get paid and make this my life? I want to do just for laughs. I want to do festivals. Like,
That's it. There's enough small carrots in this business to sort of keep you going forward. Like Just for Laughs is a good one in Edmonton because it was something we'd all seen on TV and wanted to be a part of. And they'd come through once a year and do this big showcase. So every year you get your best five together and then not get the festival, right?
I've done it a few times. Yeah,
it was about 6 years. I think 6 years. I did it back to back, and I remember on like the 6th year where and I still wasn't getting it. I did my best. I was like, how do I not get it this year? Still didn't get it. So when people talk about, I deserve this and deserve that, I'm like, well, it's just you gotta stay with it. And and the only time, and when I started booking it, I had to leave. I left Canada. My buddy Marty and I were like, we've done it all, and we've gone coast to coast here doing all the bar gigs, and we thought, So we went to New York, and as soon as I went to New York, my career turned around. Everybody at home went, oh, you're serious. Yes. You're not just doing the bars and stuff. You're getting out there doing it.
That's an interesting point for sure.
So Just for Laughs right away was like, whoa, would you like to come do Homegrown?
How old are you?
It's in 23.
23? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So you've been in 5 years.
About 5 years,
So
yeah.
after maybe the 6th time they said no in Edmonton.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
Okay.
about 6 times, yeah.
Yeah, and so you said, did
Yeah.
you need a green card or you just
No,
went?
I went illegally the first time and just lived in New York working at a hostel. So I was making no money anyway, but I was sleeping on bunk beds and cleaning rooms for room and board. And then at night I'd go to Joe Franklin's Comedy Works and make $20 to do that. So you make your Metro pass for the week in one night sort of deal. Food was fairly cheap if you could figure out places to go. Lived pretty hand to mouth. Had 2 pairs of clothes. You know what I mean, for the next year, and then got Just for Laughs. Got the homegrown comedy competition, which was.
And you weren't even showcasing. They just called you up.
Just called me up. Well, they'd showcased me so many times now, and then they knew I was in New York now, so they're like, "Oh, you're serious about it." So got that.
Taking it seriously for sure. That makes sense.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. And then and then I got a little bit of hype from that festival. Got to meet some people in the States. So I took my wares and went south. I went to California the next time. Went to San Francisco and did that comedy competition and ended up winning that thing. And then
what's that?
The San Francisco comedy competition. Okay. It's a month-long comedy competition. Yeah. It's just so you do 1 week. The first week is 5 to 7 minutes. Second week is 8 to 10 minutes, and then the third week is 10 to 15. And aggregate score. You get 3 or 4 different judges a night and all over the Bay Area. So
are they paying you when you win, or
you pay when you advance a week? You get $500 to advance the week. So that was the only thing. The first night I show up in San Francisco, I got $40 or $50 or something like that, and I end up sleeping outside. I don't have enough money to do anything, so I slept outside in some park, and then went the next night, started the competition, and won the first night. And some guy offered me a couch to sleep on, and I spent the rest of the month on that guy's couch, paid him rent after the first week, and then won the competition and bought myself a nice new dress shirt for the finals and did all that stuff. Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then the next was history, man. I went to LA, got punked inside of a week and a half, booked that show on MTV, and then
you hosted that show?
I was just one of the punkers. Just
that's like a
playing
practical
gags.
Okay, practical joke show
at Kutcher's Practical Joke Show, where you make TV stars look foolish or whatever.
Okay. How long were you on there?
You only get to do 6 or 7 episodes or whatever until your face is burnt, and then they're like, "Well, we can't use you anymore." Sort of deal, right? Yeah. And then so I thought it was pretty cool. And now,
that's cool.
And now I have cachet. I come back to Canada and work wherever. So it's pretty much been, just playing off of that ever since. I parlayed that credit into so much work, and then people figure out, well, it's not even acting. That's not even comedy.
What is that?
You're just an asshole standing there. It's like, oh, jig's up.
But it's on MTV.
Back to work.
It's awesome.
Yeah, man. So it's helped. Any credit you can get in this business, and any people you can meet, hold on to those contacts. You never know what's going to help you.
Yes, for sure.
Because it comes around, and people stay in this business like ticks. Like they don't go anywhere. You'll see somebody just doing an open mic 1 year, 20 years later, you'll see them.
Like the people, the comedians or the behind the scenes?
Comics, artists, managers, they never go anywhere. This business just stays tight.
Interesting. That's I've never heard that before. But the 4 years I've been doing comedy, not much has changed.
Everybody. Yeah, it's the same painting.
It is the same painting. Yeah. Hey, mom number 1. Have you ever seen her again?
Yeah. That's actually, I'm glad we just talked before I came in here.
Your mom number 1, you just talked to her?
Yeah, we reconciled, or not reconciled, but we sort of met at when I was 35. She lives in Halifax now, retired finally. She was just standing outside of the show at the Halifax Comedy Festival that I'm walking into. I saw her face down the hall, and I knew right away. I was like, "That's my mom."
Wow!
And just How
many years? 35 years since you've seen her?
35 years since I've seen her. Yeah. I've never seen a picture of her that was even close to recent, you know what I mean, or even a straight on picture. So I saw her, I was like, oh, those are my crazy eyes. I know those.
Wow.
So and since we've been talking, trying to slowly sort of just kind of get to know each other and stuff. And she's remarried and got a great guy and all that. And her and Jen, I think, probably talk more than I do.
How is that when you first take me through a little bit slower? You see her. And she walks over to you, you walk over to her?
She was standing at the box office, just standing there, And I come around this, I'm probably about 20 feet away from her. I see her.
And there's no reason to think that your mother might be there. It's just a normal day.
I had no idea. I knew that she lived out there.
Okay.
That was it. But I mean, Nova Scotia's a big joint. So I was like, well,
Yeah.
But so I come around this corner and I'm like, there's a lady standing in front of and I just stopped and I looked at her, and then she sort of looked down the hallway, and I was like, that's it. Like, it just washed over me. I was like, that's you. So I walked up, I was like, hey, and she knew right away. She'd look me up or see my pictures or whatever. So right there, and then you do that awkward hug, you know what I mean? Like, hey, should I be?
Yeah, what do I do here?
Yeah, what do I do?
Handshake? No. High five?
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. But I mean, say la vie. What are you going to do? I couldn't hold her responsible. She was a terrified child.
Yeah.
And she had her reasons for doing what she did. And I was lucky enough to have a good dad to just hold on. So it was, no regret. I could have been mad, I suppose, but I couldn't figure out a good reason to be mad.
Right.
So we just hugged, and then I think we got pretty drunk that night. I sat down with her and her husband, and we crushed a bottle of something.
So you're like, I'll see you after the show kind of thing? And
yeah, she came into the show and sat there.
Watch you on stage?
Yeah, and it was emotional because she came in, she was like sitting in the third row, and she brought this camera, a big Nikon Zoom deal, and I'm up on stage. She starts heckling, and I'm like, okay.
What?
All right. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, you're not part of the show. You can't ransack me for the first time in 35 years out in front of the club. Crowd's losing it. Like, is this really fucking happening?
Did you tell the crowd?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. And I was emotional and hyped up. Like, this is crazy. Nothing's happened like this. It was one of my best shows. It's to this date. It was with Daryl Orr and Ryan Belleville, and we smoked. That room was just popping. It was crackly, I think everybody could sense that emotion in the room. It was nuts.
100%. You can feel that.
Mm-hmm. All the comics knew what was going on, And at this point now, when I'm on stage, there's about 20 comics have filtered into the back of the room to just watch the mayhem happen, right? And she's walking around. I'm calling her a crazy cunt because she's taking pictures and trying to take over the show. And I'm like, 35 years, should have been here, and all that stuff,
Wow, that's amazing.
And then after, she's like, oh, I hope I didn't mess anything up. I'm like, I don't know how else this could have gone. I don't really. Because if you just sat there quiet, it would have felt weird all night.
Right.
Like just staring at you. Do you like that joke? So I'm kind of glad that she spoke up. But yeah, now we move forward. She's fine. She's got a little PTSD from the service and whatnot, as it happens. And she just recently got herself a service dog. So that's good. I think things are happier for her that way.
Yeah.
Happy for her.
Wow.
She's got a lovely place. Jen and I, during the festival last year, went out and visited her and her husband, had some dinner over there, drank too much wine. And
after that happened, do you now look back and think there was something missing, or do you think it changed you in some way that you now have her as part of your life?
Yeah, it's different. I mean, I feel more changed now than I would have then. As a kid, I had a pretty normal life. Like I said, my dad was quick to get to the next women all the time. So I didn't know life without a mom. Right. I always had a matriarch in the family. And the women that my dad dates are dominant. It's not like he's not an alpha male in any sense, where he's not, he's not just show you his tummy or anything. But he's a quiet dude that just likes someone else to take charge.
Show me his tummy.
Yeah. So,
Oh, like a dog rolling over. Right?
Yeah, right. He's just soft that way. So, and that's fine. All the women that were in my life were terrific and strong and a little bit angry. They all kind of share the same thing. It's funny, like I put no stock in astrology or anything. I just think it's odd that they're all born like 2 days apart.
Who are all the wives?
All the wives are June kids, and there's like 6th, the 9th, and the 12th. A few days apart.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Bizarre.
They're just really.
That is interesting.
It's weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah. It's just, I'm like, Dad, do you just find girls on their birthday in June and be like, perfect,
That's interesting. Yeah. Huh. Wow. That's an amazing story, man. I had no idea that you were going to talk about that. That's really.
I didn't either.
That's really cool. Yeah.
You got me all talking about your life story. It was inspiring there, and so I just I'll just open up a can of worms.
That is a good can of worms. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So now, I mean, she's part of your life. You see her regularly, and that's amazing. So a lot of times we have comedians on here, and this one of the great things about the podcast is I can, sort of see commonalities in all sorts of people, right? This is the 57th one, so we've had lots of comics on, lots of people who have been successful, done lots of different things. And the one thing I've noticed about comedians is their humor is brought upon by sort of overcompensating for something that's either missing or something, like maybe they're the fifth child, or they're funny looking, like that's a real thing. And people sort of, they develop this sense of humor to sort of like make things easier. I mean, you're a good looking guy, right? Hockey player.
Yeah. And,
you know, what was the comedy for? Why were you using it?
Well, I think it's because I was the only child for like 10 years, and I was around a bunch of sarcastic adults, and we changed cities so much.
Yes.
So I was really good at adapting. I'm quick on my feet.
Right.
I can size people up real quick. And if you had no sarcasm and no wit in our family, you're just going to get run over, because everybody's making jokes about you. They were malicious. Like my aunts and uncles on my dad's side just carve you up. If they found one little thread, 8-year-old kid, they dice you up, and you needed something, you know. I think my dad always pushed that at me. It's like, well, let him have it, let him have it, let him have it, you know. And then on all my mom's side, they're just gregarious and wonderful. That's where I probably get the storytelling, is my second mom's family. They're great. They're just wonderful people that just like to they're a little more grounded with their stories and way of life. And I think maybe it probably just comes from, I like seeing the feeling when you make people laugh just genuinely, and you get on that roll. I always remember it being the best feeling. I was always like, oh, this is great.
Yes.
If I could do this, then I got something.
Yeah, it is a great feeling.
Isn't it? Yeah.
I've heard that before too. The moving around, right? You got to fit in all of a sudden. You're a new kid, where all eyes are pointed at you all of a sudden. And you know, if you can find something funny to say, then it kind of makes it easier to make friends.
Yep.
And kind of Army. I mean, Mike McDonald, right? He's an Army guy too, right?
Yep.
Army brat, and his similar sort of story, right? Moving around, had to be the funny kid, and that's how it worked for him, for sure. So you're a storyteller. Yeah,
I guess so. You know, I got a few different gears, but that one's my go-to. You know, if I need to put a TV bit together, it's usually a 7-minute chunk.
So how do you write that? You just come up with the nuts and bolts first of all?
Yeah.
The outline?
Very specific, the nuts and bolts. Like I like to write the whole story out, every detail I can think of.
Oh, so you write it out, piece of paper?
Oh, yeah.
Pen and paper?
Yeah, I pen and paper.
Okay.
As soon as I write on a computer, I take it too seriously.
Yep.
And I get too specific, because I can't just scribble it out. You know what I mean? So on paper, I write the story down, and then it's easy once I have it all in front of me. The perspective's easy. I can go, well, that matches that. Oh, that's kind of weird that happened after that.
Okay.
And you can take yourself out of it and look back at it. And then I start making jokes about the idiot that wrote this story, sort of deal. And
like
then
yourself, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And then I've got 3 minutes, no problem. At least one joke I can throw out there and run with. And then once you hit the stage with it the first time, it changes again, because you're like, wow, I don't.
How do you memorize it?
Well, if it happened to me, it's pretty easy to remember. Usually stuff sticks with me like that. And my bits always start about 3 minutes, and then as soon as I get to stage, something happens, or I just keep adding on to it. And once I say it out loud, once I've got it, I don't really know how to explain it. It just comes. But I think having an idea about what you want, like I'm not one of those comics that does the one-liners all the time. And those guys I respect, because they got to write 700 jokes and then remember the order and stuff. And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna have a writing job. You're incredible. That's incredible to me. I can't even keep my stuff straight that way. So I like to get people's emotions going, or distract them over here, and then the gags over here, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a message? Do you give a message? Do you think about the message? Do you care if there's a message? Do you want people to feel differently, learn something? I know you said you want to see them laugh. That's
sometimes I do. I'd like people to stop being so petty. Is what I'd like. You know, we're all the same. We're all the same. There's no real exception. I mean, there's exceptional people, but we're all made up of the same stuff. And I don't like there's so much division, and I don't like that. And so if you can make people laugh, it really just kind of unites, because we're all sloppy messes. We all make mistakes. We all wish we could have done this better, or we're working on this thing, or it's just I like this sense of unity that comedy gives me, I guess.
So would you go into writing a bit with that idea in mind, or do you go in with a story in mind?
Sometimes I'm message driven with a bit. Like, I don't, the news, I I don't like people watching the news. I've never been a fan of it. It's always ugly, and I try and drill that point home. And when I wrote that whole chunk, I'm like, wow, just please don't. You know, I repeat it as much as possible. Stop this awful stuff.
Okay.
You can't help. You know, it's definitely not helping you. So stop it.
So you're talking about like actually watching the television, watching the news. Yeah.
The news, reading it's awful.
Yeah,
like, unless it's in your community, because that's how you help. You help your community out. And you impact the world directly around you, and that radiates out.
Right.
You don't reach out to Cuba and send money and have anything come back to you. It's just throwing money into the water.
Right. You don't even know what's really happening or really there, right? Yeah. It's just an image on a television.
No connectivity, yeah. So that's the secret. I like the connectivity, and I even prefer doing stand up to groups, you know, like a bar or a live music venue, as opposed to like for television. Like when I watch myself on TV, I'm like, I would have rather watched the live show. I like watching the stuff live.
Yes,
you know,
being there in the room for sure.
It's so much better.
The faces, the eyeballs, that whole reaction, the whole thing. So when you were doing your thing with your mom, and there's clearly like palpable energy, emotions in the room because it's a huge deal and you're talking about it. Did you ever try to recreate that when she wasn't there?
I think the second time I went back to Halifax, and then I had to play that club again. Same theme show, was the Dark and Dirty Show or whatever. And I walked on, she wasn't there, and I was like, okay, let's just recapture it. And it doesn't come back that easy, you know.
But at all, or
no. I mean, it's still fun. It's still a great room. I still had a great time, but like, not that pop.
So you just told me the story, and I could feel like my shoulders perk up, and I think
it goes for the first little while. I had that like for another 2 weeks after that moment. I was riding that lightning, you know, and then it starts. You start to think about it, and then overthink it, and then it just washes away.
Yeah, but I mean the actual story of like your mother putting you up for adoption and then showing up at a show 35 years later. Did you ever try to make that a bit, or is that
no? Oddly enough, no. I don't really know what I'd do with that. I've been trying to talk about my 3 moms, because it just strikes me as funny.
That is very funny, for sure.
So just the idea of having them, and I love them all, and it's such a weird thing for my dad. Like if my dad is watching or hearing any of this, he's so easily embarrassed, and I don't think he should be. He did really great by me, but without him being the way he is, and without those women being the way they were, I wouldn't be where I am, and I love what I'm doing. So, you know, good on all of them for doing what they're doing. You know?
Well, you're a very silly person, right? I mean, you're always, every time I've ever seen you, just looking for the joke, looking for the good time. Everything's positive, right? So obviously that comes from, you know, top-down parents setting a good example. Not even necessarily telling you how to be, just that's the way they are, right? I find that with children, they don't do what you tell them, they do what you're doing, right? So I think that it sounds like you probably set a good example, although he can't stick with one woman, right?
No, he can't do it. You know, and that's where I think I'm going to win here. I think I'm going to do, like, I waited till 40 to meet the right lady. And yesterday we were talking about me moving out here, and she's like, I know you don't like it out here. And I was like, but I love you, you know. And I moved anywhere for you. I know. You think, I go, I'm 40. How much dating around do you think I got left in me? I don't know. Who am I, Clooney? So I said, let's lock this down.
You got to at some point realize you're not doing any better, right?
I can't. I don't know how I could. She's terrific. So.
She is terrific for sure. Yeah, for sure.
I got to put one of those rings on her, and then.
Is that what's happening? Is that tonight on stage at Mark Hatfield's Friday night?
I'm
7
gonna.
PM?
I'm gonna propose to Jen LaBelle on stage
for 10 minutes.
She's gonna say no. She'll say no.
So then I'll ask Wafik.
Then he'll turn around and ask Wafik.
He'll say
yes. I got the ring here. Wafik's like, for sure.
It's 2019.
Just wrap a joint around Wafik's finger, and that's all you got. There you go.
I'm in. You got me. So but I mean, that's an interesting point too. You've chosen a career where it's hard to have a family. It sounds like you clearly want to have a family, and so I mean, how is that going to happen?
Well, I think people do make it happen. It'd be probably easier out here getting our feet under us and stuff. I'm not sure about kids, but Jen and I want to be together and travel around.
Yeah, that's got to be hard for sure, right? So, like you're always in a different city. She has a full-time job here.
That makes it. I mean, what's great about having a partner that's confident, and that's where I was missing with every other venture I've I've been involved with venture relationship is that there's been only like I always knew that I was going to be on the road doing comedy. Jen's probably the first person to accept that and just know it right from the jump. She's like, okay, that's what you do. So she doesn't get weird about anything. She knows, okay, well, he's out late tonight. That's happened. So we talk like normal couple on the phone, you know, but she's never been in, she's not insecure. She's driven. She's totally confident. And that's been missing from my life. So I'm going to hang on to it, because if we ever did have kids, and then I got a good teacher right here, you know, and I will always be the oldest child in whatever family I'm in. So, I'm lucky. Just a lucky guy, I guess.
Yeah, you mentioned confidence, obviously, important part of comedy, right?
Yeah.
Getting up on stage and just, I mean, I find if someone gets up on stage and they're confident, no matter what they're saying, it's funny, it's entertaining, it's your eyeballs can't move away, right?
Right.
And how, I mean, that's part of your game, right? As you go up there, I've seen you, I remember one time, I guess it was about a year ago, was it during my show a year ago? You were like, I got this new stuff about sports I want to try.
Yeah.
And, you know, you just went up there and you laughed and you like told it, and it was, you know, enraptured by what you're saying. And I don't even know if you'd figured out what you were going to do at that point, but it was entertaining because you just went up there and told it.
I was getting ready for the Winnipeg Comedy Festival with that, doing the sports gala. Yeah, so I remember that set, and I remember trying to work through that stuff and where it ended up. Yeah, you have to be confident in stuff. You have to, because you look unconfident, you're not confident.
So how do you make yourself confident like that? Because, you know, there's 99% of the world who want that and cannot get that, right?
Yeah, well, they just don't have it. You know, it's something you got to work on. Like I've been doing this for 22 years, and I trust myself, and I have to say that to myself.
There you go.
You have to be like, I trust myself. I'm going to go have fun.
Yes.
And if I keep smiling anyways, this can go as bad as whatever. It could go bad, and I can still love it. So that, and I think that takes a lot of failing at it. And I've done a ton of that. Oh, I've had some awful sets, man. Yeah. My first set was atrocious.
First ever.
The worst thing you've ever seen.
And you just kept going because you wanted it so bad.
Oh, it was so bad.
Before we get into that, I will tell you one thing I learned early on before starting speaking, and it's pretty interesting. It sort of fueled me the whole time. And there's either you're excited or you're nervous for something. And physiologically, same reaction to your body. The only difference is that the words you're telling yourself in your head. So if you say, this is going to go great, this is going to be awesome, I'm the best, then you're going to be excited for it. If you say, I hope I don't go up there and screw this up, then you feel nervous. So physiologically, the same feelings. Think about it, when you're excited or nervous, you feel the same way. Excited or nervous, depending on the words in your head.
And I know, and that's a great point, because I know a couple comics that, you know, really pump themselves up with positivity and then go and do well. And then I know comics like Jeremy Hotz, who's he'll pace and be like, oh, this is the worst, I'm the worst, and then goes out and murders. That's
his gig, though, right?
You know,
he's doing that to be that person, and it works, right?
It's like the dark side of the force is working for him.
Exactly. Right? He's working that. He's being that character, so he's confidently unconfident. Right.
That's true.
He's being that guy, and he realized, I would imagine early on, that's probably who he really is off stage, right? If you know him,
he's lovely. He's absolutely lovely.
He's lovely, and off stage, he's similar to that, right? How important is it for you to be close to yourself on stage? That's a tough hurdle for people to cross when they first start comedies. Who am I going to be when I get up there? Because they'll see someone, Mitch Hedberg, and talking in a you know, da 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 da. So you think you got to go up there, and that's how everybody starts, right? Who were you? Who did you pretend you were when you first started?
Oh, for a long time too. I grew up with a lot of black influence in comedy, right? And it's weird to say, but Bill Cosby was a huge influence early in my comedy career. Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, they're huge when I was a kid, you know. And then Chris Rock came when I was in high school, and I was like, well, this is it. Like, these are my Rushmore here, you know. And my dad loved Carlin and introduced me to Carlin and Dennis Miller's back then, and like a pretty good wealth. And then I got onto Hicks, and you just started to be a student of these things. And then when it came down to it, now my top three, I've got Richard Pryor, George Carlin, and I still got to put Lenny Bruce there, because without him, there'd be none of it. So that's that. And I, you know, and I had a huge black influence in my comedy early with the voice. Like, I would talk like Eddie Murphy, and even during Chappelle's first album, I would find myself slipping into Chappelle and be like, why am I doing this? I know it works.
It's hard
so
not
good
to.
for
It's
them.
not hard not to, though.
Yeah.
You're like, they're dead. Well, I can use their voice,
Yeah,
the pace,
but the red
cadence.
leather tracksuit. I mean, that's too much. You know. Yeah.
Oh, Eddie Murphy. I think we were very similar ages when we were kids. Was like Delirious.
Yeah.
And what was the other one? There was
Raw.
and Raw. I mean, those were like that's what you did on a Friday night. Is watch those, right? Like
Delirious.
every Friday, man. That was the thing to do.
I mean, people are like, the kids now, they're like, oh, it didn't age so well. I'm like, well, it's 10 minutes that didn't age well. The rest of it's spectacular.
Yeah.
It still holds up. Like, it's
is.
great. It's just entertaining. He's singing Elvis,
Yeah, you talk about confidence. Look at that, right? Look at that person.
Pure confidence.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Look at, like you said, what he's wearing.
Yeah, right? And then there was Chris Rock coming out with the black leather, right? And
Yeah.
Bring the Pain. And then, and he was topical. He's topical and he's confident.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't just being silly. He was making noise.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I always like that. I like people that can rattle the cage. And I've never been a big political comic. There's no reason to be. I'm a white Canadian male who's straight and 40. I don't know what I'm going to say. You know
That's a good point. Yeah, what is my issue for sure?
I can't rock the boat. I'm the center of the boat. So I don't understand what I could even talk about there. But I love watching other people do it well. Occasionally I'll take a stab at Justin Trudeau just for fun.
Yes,
I think I could totally light him up in a fight, no problem.
Yeah, I think so. I think I would pick you for sure.
Just maim him. I thought about Stephen Harper too, and last night I was talking about
In his prime. Talk about Stephen Harper in his prime.
Yeah,
You think you
he
can
kind of
take
looked
him?
tough. He kind of looked tough.
He's
eh?
big. He's a big fella.
He's big and he's tough.
Yeah, he
And
can,
looks
take a
mean.
punch. I think that
bet
head
he
of his
can.
could, he wouldn't even feel it.
Well, I bet you it's not even human. I bet you his hair opens from like hinges on the side and two lizards pop out.
That would make way more sense,
Right?
than the other alternative of him being human.
Just
I think.
space age polymer. I think that's what his head's made out of.
What's he doing now?
Yeah.
He goes to hockey games for
Yeah.
sure. I see him there.
Yeah, he just sits there in his Canada jacket looking at him.
That's right. That's the image I have in my head is that the Roots Canada jacket, and his son who's still 11 playing hockey.
Right.
No idea.
That's robots don't age.
You're right. That's exactly what it is.
Stephen Harper hasn't aged. He's made of polymer. I know it.
Yeah.
They basically just recycled a Saturn and made Stephen Harper.
You remember when those cars were lighting on fire all the time? Spontaneous combustion, burning houses down? That's back to the Minto. Back to your
right?
Minto gig right there.
Yeah, the Saturn burns down and takes down a Minto building with it. It'd be just too perfect, right?
And they cancel your performance and
Right.
you don't make that $300.
Guy walks by sinkhole, slips on banana peel.
So just for laughs, how many times have you done that?
5?
Oh, that's a good amount of times, yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm good. Like, I like it. I go back if they ever ask me again, but I don't seek it at all. I don't seek any of them anymore. They're
What
fun.
do you do to get gigs to like you're not on social media very much, right? So it's just based on reputation now. We need Rob Pugh to come through town. He's going to come.
When you're at a festival, when you're at a show, and people enjoy you and they shake your hand, and you get cards. Those are important cards to get. Those are important handshakes to take. And you never know who can help you. I get most of my work through word of mouth and through gigs that I've already done, and people want to see again or do something else with. So I think we're doing or I'm doing a fireman's thing here on June 1st, and I think they know you, or somehow
I might be hosting it.
you might be hosting it.
Yeah, I hosted it the past 2 years.
Together.
Oh, I didn't know you. That was I
I
didn't
think
know
it's me and Jen and you.
Oh, right
I
on.
think.
Yeah, Jen did it last year.
Right, and I think she's doing it with us this year.
Oh, that's
so.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. No, that's a great gig for sure. I've done it. That'll be the 3rd year. I'm going to go do it with them too somewhere else, Scarborough or something.
Yeah.
Are you doing that one too?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
awesome.
doing 2 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. Yeah, no, that's a great fella there. I can't think of his name right now, but he organizes it. It's a great show. I hope he has a good time.
Remember, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so bad with names.
It's right
Yeah,
there.
he's
It's
gonna
right there.
Make it rain. Make it rain. Yeah, no, that's a great. It's a great show for sure, and it raises money for charities and stuff.
That's exactly it. Like I knew he had you, and you were a fireman, and that's how he sold the show. And so that's how those things happen. Most 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, for sure.
And I've just started speaking myself, or doing. I don't want to say motivational speech, but keynote.
Okay.
I talk about my car accident and the 2-year road to recovery, and small tangible goals for yourself, and working your way out of
Okay. Well, let's hear. Can we
working
hear
your way out
the?
of depression. Because it was I got in a head-on car collision 8 years ago now, and I broke my hip, shattered my kneecap, tore up my stomach, had a massive concussion. And
wow, tell me
for my face.
Back up a little bit. What time of day? What time of year?
It was November 5th, about 7:00 at night, twilight.
Okay.
So I hit
on your way to
Peterborough, Ontario. I was doing a show for the Teachers Union, or was about to.
Okay.
You know, and just that time of night when the road and the sky melt into each other.
Yep.
You know, I couldn't see anything. I kind of come around the slight bend. I hit a patch of ice, just cruise straight head on into a minivan, and then hospital. That's basically the next
thing you remember.
Basically, I mean, the back of the ambulance. I have jokes written about it. The back of the ambulance and the helicopter ride. I wake up briefly.
You were in a helicopter.
Yeah, from Minden Hills Hospital. They sent me in a helicopter to Sunnybrook in Toronto because they couldn't fix me in Minden. I was too messed up.
That's Sunnybrook. That's where they send like people who are really messed up, right?
I was banged up, yeah, and they have the best. They have the best orthopedic surgeon there in the country, which is nice and he was just some luck. He was finishing his shift. Comic comes through, and if it wasn't for a friend of mine that went to school with him, like he woke me up pre-surgery to go, do you know Irwin Barker? I was like, yeah, I know Irwin. And Irwin was a great comedian in Canada and since passed. But I was like, yeah, he's one of my good buddies. And he goes, all right, and then puts me back to sleep and then works on me. I was like, well, thank God for knowing people, you know. Yeah. He sucked out the bits of kneecap. I mean, like the physical pain's one thing. The mental pain's awful in recovery. Like 2 years of concussion symptoms and harsh concussion symptoms. Couldn't take light, severe depression and mood swings. Vertigo was nuts. And I was lucky enough to have the family that I do and the circle of friends that I do to help dust you off and keep you focused on moving forward, because it was a rough 2 years. Mm-hmm. I hit the bottom of every barrel I could with drinking and drugs and just pure depression, just sad, and I couldn't move properly. And I thought, well, shit, you know, why? I'm not going to walk again. I can't. I'm a physical comic. I was like, well, that's done. That's just changing me, you know. Mm-hmm. And I remember I woke up on the edge of my bed one morning, and I was green. Like I looked myself in the mirror, and my eyes everything's green and yellow, and I just feel poison. You know, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do it. So I stopped right there. I stopped my drinking and drugging there. You know, I was like, I'm going to clean up and get some rehab done on my leg and hip and really try and focus on getting back. So I set a goal for myself of just being able to play men's league hockey. Didn't care how slow, didn't care how feeble it was, but I wanted to be back on skates playing again. So it took 2 years of exercise and eating right, physio, the small stuff, starting with just rubber bands around my toes and working my leg out of atrophy. It was just the size of my forearm. It was my leg.
That's why your legs are so skinny.
Yeah, I got little beautiful women's legs, and so it was a 2-year road to getting back. And I remember stepping out on the ice the first time after 2 years, and just. I'd never been that emotional to be on skates in my life. I was like, I can't believe, because I walked out of that hospital and I asked that surgeon, I said, am I going to be able to walk normal again? And he shrugged. He was like, I don't know. Mm-hmm. I have no idea how you're going to heal up, man. I don't know. I don't suck kneecaps out of people very much. And
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you have a fake kneecap?
No, they just don't give you one.
No kneecap.
I know.
Everybody's
everybody's got the same. Like, what do you do?
You can't wear shorts in the summer.
I don't care. It actually looks not bad. It's just flat, you know. And, it's got a cross scar, you know. Like they just opened it up, like they bisected a frog and sucked all the little bits out. And then your tendons are sutured at the back of or fused at the back of your kneecap. And when my kneecap shattered, they just had to take all the pieces of kneecap off it and then suture the tendons together, hold the leg straight, and then slowly the physio. So this is over the next 2 years is learning to just bend it, stretch it that extra couple of inches, and so it's pliable. Now I just have to watch out for hyperextending it, because oddly enough, that's what your kneecap prevents your leg from doing. It also protects the arteries and stuff, whatever behind there. But that little cap is largely useless. I mean,
it's a beautiful looking thing, though. It
looks way better. It looks way better.
I'm sure you're disgusting down there.
It's square, yeah. My leg goes wham wham. You know, it's a real right angle. It's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, I left that off when Jen and I met each other on Bumble Tinder or whatever. We didn't. She's like, need man with 2 knees.
Kneecaps.
And I lied. It's going to catch up to me someday. But.
Yeah. So one of these days you'll have your shorts down or something.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the hell is that?
Well, I'm self-conscious of it like crazy because I have scars all over the place, all up to my hip and around my hip, and my knees all messed up. My face here I still feel it, and I got hernias like crazy. It just rocked everything.
From that one accident?
One accident just pulled me apart, and it's still.
What happened to the person you hit?
They're fine. They broke their. It was a husband and wife, and they broke their forearms grabbing the dash. They didn't have airbags in their old Caravan. The thing was like hitting a wall.
Yeah.
You know, they were perfectly fine. And I thought I was going to be. I hit that minivan, and I was like, I'm going to be late for my show because I only had like 15 minutes to make it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Can I just tell you something real quick while you said that? I started off my story with a car accident story.
Right.
And me and my oldest son are heading to a hockey tournament. It was his first out-of-town hockey tournament, Ottawa to Kingston, driving down the road. We're literally, I could see the arena, going through the last intersection, a guy going 80 kilometers per hour, goes right through a red light, smashes into the side of our minivan.
Oh, no.
Hits us so hard, he comes up on top of me. You can see he broke my clavicle here. Starts pushing our minivan sideways through traffic. There's cars headed right at my son's side of the minivan. Everything happens, and then everything stops.
Yeah.
And then there's smoke everywhere, and that's when I heard my little boy, and he says, "Daddy, are we going to be late for hockey?"
Yeah.
That's the punchline right
Yeah,
there.
it's so funny.
It is so funny because
know.
he's untouched. I'm
Yeah.
obviously pinned underneath everything, and he's like, "Are we going to be late for hockey?" And so I do use that story. I use it every speech I give.
Yeah, of course.
And I use it on stage at a comedy club sometimes.
It's a good one. You're like, yeah, we're going to be late.
Yeah. Or you'll be fine.
Might have to tie your own skates, man.
Yeah. Well, the song, one of the lines I came up with lately was like, because it really happened. A good Samaritan puts a cellular phone through the wreckage of the car and says, "Buddy, you don't look good. You should call a loved one." And I'm like, "All right. Hey, Coach, Jaden's gonna be a few minutes late."
I got similar. My grandpa got in a car accident. We were in North Edmonton, and we rear-ended some guy in a snowstorm. And me and my buddy were on our way to this hockey tournament, and we're like, "Are we gonna miss this game because he drove like an asshole here?" You know?
Yeah.
And lucky enough, we had buddies. The car pulling up behind us, they stopped for the accident. Some of the guys from our team were like, "God, you good here? We're gonna go." I left my grandma and grandpa on the side of the highway.
Like the jaws of life to get your equipment out.
Yeah, right. Can you get my skates are in the back? Yeah, that was no good. That was a tough one, but
So I mean, you had a goal. You need to get back on the ice.
It was about it was about just setting that small goal for yourself of doing something physical. Just being able to stand up at that point to me was so far away when I first started. And being able to move again was so far away that getting there, it just brought me so much joy. And I thought, well, I mean, you go through so many emotions when you go through stuff like that. You're just, for the first year, it was dark. It was really, really dark. I mean, I had a good family and people to talk to, and I'm lucky that way. But just getting up on skates. And I remember the first day I just went out for a little rec skate. There's kids beetling around me and skating fast. But I had the biggest goddamn smile on my face ever. Yeah. And so the idea of being able to tell people that no matter how much pain you're in, you can still set a goal for yourself and feel some worth. Like, I didn't even know if I was going to be able to travel around. Sitting in the back of cars to do comedy seemed like I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. So, and since then, now the stretching, the exercise, you got to keep the physio and the rehab going. Otherwise, you lock up again and it's over. But it's just setting these little goals for yourself. And deciding that you're worth it is important.
Yes.
It gets you up every day. Like you said, you need a goal to focus on, and that was my goal. You know, let's just get those skates on, get out on the ice, stand up, being able to sit in the back of a car again, do stand up again.
Right.
You know, the two things I love the most, hockey and comedy. And it's kept me alive, I think. So
how long were you not able to perform?
6 months. I gave all my gigs away for 6 months. And even after that, I should have probably stayed off stage because I couldn't handle the lights and I couldn't get myself anywhere. I was on crutches and canes, like sitting in the back of people's cars like it was useless, you know, and I felt like a drain on everybody, and it just added to my feelings of insecurity and negativity. So probably should have stayed away from it for a bit, but you know.
Right. So it was the physical goals that sort of took you in that direction, and like you said, it like helped you mentally too, right? Like, I mean, I think that's a big thing. Is you know, if things aren't going well, like sort of upstairs, do something physical, right? Get out there, you know.
And it was helpful because we were in sports, so you love sports, but you get into that routine that you're familiar with. It's just, you don't even have to think about it. You're like, okay, I can do this and this and this and this. I don't need to talk to people or have them talk to me about it. Yeah, I can stay in my, set this goal for myself and feel pride in myself. Not that I expect people to just do everything themselves, but it definitely helps when you succeed on your own. Sometimes gives you that boost.
And you always need help too, right? I mean,
always.
You always need someone.
Family, friends, so important.
Exactly. Yeah, you mentioned that a lot. The family and friends are there for you, and that's a huge thing, right? Don't try and do any of that stuff alone,
right?
You know, and even as far as the things that you want to achieve, you know, find someone who's done them or tried to do them, and all that sort of stuff to point yourself in that direction, because nobody's ever done it. Like, nobody's done it. I know it's funny after you say you got to do it alone, but nobody's ever truly done it without help, right?
Absolutely. Well, if it wasn't for my dad and my friends, that was it. You know. A great moment. I mean, there's a learning point in that whole thing was I felt so inadequate and disgusting. Like, I was like, oh, I'm ripped apart now. Like, I don't know who's going to want this broken piece of garbage. And I really thought those things about myself, and a little moment of humility hit, and then that all went away. And I remember this was the turning point, because my dad showed up, and he came out to Toronto, and he had to help me get in the shower properly, you know. So he put the bag around my cast, and then he had to help me get my legs into the tub. Now, so I would wear these shorts, these Umbro soccer shorts, whatever, because my dad's helped me in the shower. My dad look at my dick or whatever, and so I go through this, you know, I got to use this claw to put on these shorts, and I got to go through this big production. So my dad doesn't see my hog, and then he helps me. He puts one leg in the shower, and my dick and balls fall out the one short leg, and my dad's just staring straight at it, right? And I'm like, and I was.
You got your mother's dick.
He's like, you got your mom's dick, yeah. We started laughing so hard, you know. And I was like, okay, well, this is all right. Like, this moment to me was worth it all. Because I started laughing. I was like, I hadn't laughed in forever. I was just sad. That lit me right up. I was like, okay, stuff's still good. We're still good.
That's great.
Yeah. So no matter how dark it gets, there's always something to laugh at.
There is always
smile.
Always something to laugh at. Yeah. And tonight, Yuck Yucks, there'll be lots to laugh at.
Tons. That's what it's about.
Yeah, that was awesome, man.
Thanks, brother.
An hour and 10 minutes. Well done. That was moving.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, I loved your story.
That was great.
Thanks for getting her going.
Yeah, we'll turn this stuff off and